And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Payload down to nominal.
Fighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
125! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Good morning, folks. If you've been patiently waiting the last about an hour here, we are standing by for the Vulcan Cert 1 rollout. I'm John Galloway with NSF. I've got friends with me this morning, but we've been here in a holding pattern until we saw the rocket. Now, where is the rocket on this view, though? Time out. Is there like little greeblies sticking out from the side of the thing here? I don't know. I think we have another view where we can see the silhouette of the rocket a little bit there. But let me know that you can hear me. You can't see me in chat. 5x5s over there. There's the tower, it looks like. Oh, that's where we're going. It's going out to Slick 41. But there we go. Okay. There. Do we see the silhouette of the rocket there? Everybody got very excited all of a sudden. Does anybody see a rocket?
Yes. So if you go to the close-up again,
the O1, go to the O1
yes,
close-up.
you can see it move on the gap between the tower and like there's this white thing now. It's moving out.
It's like
you can
a little
see that
greebly bit,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's barely visible now, but we see something moving.
This motion is like the grass vent of rollouts, Adrian. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't like the fact that it's called the grass vents of rollouts, but we have some confirmation elsewhere as well from ULA that this whole thing is going. So
Okay.
we are feeling pretty confident. Like and they just updated pre-rollout preps are nearing completion and the weather is acceptable to move.
All right.
Something's
So Adrian's going to be here hanging out with us as well. Adrian, thanks for being here. I think this is like not complete chaos. Do we have Jack too?
It's utter chaos. And also, I want to compliment you because I felt the psychic pain on Adrian's part when you said grass vent of rollouts. But you know, that's just how these things go. They start off slow. It's obviously a very important piece of hardware, and it'll be exciting to see it move out, even if it takes a little bit to see more of it. But that's what we're doing here.
That's the plan. So, folks, we're going to be hanging out. We've got Max out there in the field as well, but Max is like doing the one-man camera band where he's got like a camera on his head and then a camera on his back and like 3 cameras on tripods. And if he taps his foot, like a cymbal clashes, I think. I don't know if we'll have Max on comms at all, but we've got this close-in view here from Max, who is rolled out, I think, near the astronaut beach house today. There's a little mound over there. And they are set up courtesy of ULA. ULA invited us out today to not only take photos and video of this, but share it with you live. So very, I really want to tell you all about the rocket that's right there, but there is very small pieces of rocket slightly visible there as well. So we're going to wait till we see more rocket. We were very excited about it, and we waited until we saw some sort of motion. But what's happening right now is the Vulcan 1 rocket for that first launch that's coming up early in the morning on Monday morning is poking its nose out of the barn, I guess you could say. There, horse reference, good to go. I swear, if everybody I want to go back and do an A/B test and see if everybody just was so excited that a bird flew past and they thought that the rocket moved.
I did a few more A/B testing. Something definitely moved, and as soon as we hit go live, it stopped.
Yeah, y'all are very excited.
It's like something changed. I can prove that. But either way, we just got update from the ULA ticker as well that they're proceeding with this rollout. So we should see something here very soon.
That's
So
some
that's good.
text there on the screen. It says weather is go for the rollout. It looks nice and the sun's behind it there. So it's got that
It
going
does
for
look
it,
nice.
which is nice. Folks, if you're in chat and you see a sliver of a rocket sticking its nose out of the barn here, please let us know. AB back and forth, see if something has changed, maybe like one little clamp releases or something like that. But that's the plan. You see we've got the clock up there in the upper left-hand corner. It says L minus 39, not 39 minutes. Is it 39 hours?
39 hours.
39 hours. Jeez, that is super early, I think.
Yeah.
So the launch for Vulcan, which is the first launch of Vulcan that's ever going to happen ever, is scheduled for Monday very early in the morning. Eastern Standard Time window opens up at, I think, 2:18 a.m. Super dark 30 there for the first launch. We'll see if they actually go for that. But the first step is to get the rocket out of the vertical integration facility, the tall building you see here, with the bottom of an American flag on it up at the top. You can see, I mean, it has the rest of the flag. You just can't see the rest of the flag, right? And they're going to move this out and roll it up the train tracks over to Slick 41. We're doing the things that we always do. We're doing questions and we're going to answer things. And apparently we've already been here a little off the rails as we waited for about an hour. And it got slowly but surely descended into NSF madness in the back channel while we were waiting to go. But we have all sorts of stuff planned here to chat about. What do we have?
I'm putting some.
What are we going to do?
I'm putting some questions in the queue if you want to do any question. We have a couple right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, we could also, I mean, Das, you have capabilities. You could.
Don't tease it. Don't know. No, not yet. Wait.
We're not there yet.
Hold.
All right. Well, we have a question. Hold.
Yeah, get some questions, Jack.
Okay. We have a question from Archie asking, is Vulcan the rocket that plans to decouple its main engines just after MECO? And if it is it planned to do so on the first flight?
Now, that only happens with the SpaceX boosters after they land on the barge.
Hey,
that's when they decouple the F section.
Or the super heavy boosters after they run.
After they run. That's a plan, isn't it? I mean, we haven't seen anything like hardware towards it, specifically on a vehicle, but that's a plan that ULA has talked about a lot, right? The smart reuse.
Yeah, the sensible modular. Sensible modular autonomous return technology, which totally was not fitted to say smart.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's space flight. If you're not going to do a fun backronym, are you even flying hardware?
Not yet. We need a fun backronym to roll some hardware here this morning, I think.
But yeah, there was a test of, what was it, the heat shield that they're going to use for the smart reuse system. I forget what launch that was on.
The inflatable heat shield, that's right.
But ULA included that as like a secondary payload and did do some testing on that. But to your point, Dust, no Vulcan hardware for smart reuse that we've like seen yet. But that's going to be an exciting thing.
Everybody watch really closely because people are getting very excited that a shadow may have moved. Chat, yell out if you see something change.
This is classic tank watching.
A certain person called Max just updated us motion confirmed we are rolling.
I can't wait till we can confirm the motion here too by seeing it.
So that's I know what fooled me in going live here. So there's this thing called the sun. And sometimes the sun casts shadows.
I told you. I knew it.
Yeah, totally my bad. I'm sorry here, folks. The white things are not rocket. It's light.
Adrian, that is specifically what I said, isn't it? It's like, are you sure we haven't just been sitting here so long that the sun moved and changed to shadow? Tell me that's what happened.
Yeah, that happened. I'm sorry. Sometimes
we literally had a back and forth. We were like, "Are you sure?" It's like, I mean, it's basically a sundial at this point.
It's basically a sundial. Nice. The Slick 41 sundial as we time lapse the motion of the rotation of the Earth, really, here. But I mean, are the Greeblies getting bigger? Is that great? Gosh, now I'm just like psyched out. It looks like the gray Greebly is getting bigger.
Welcome to my world, Dan.
I'm gonna need you to point out what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you mean by great Greebly. I know that's like a technical term. I'm just a layperson. I'm sorry.
I don't know. Stand by. Y'all chat some, and I'm gonna set something up here.
All right, cool. Adrian, long hair 2012 gaming is asking, is Vulcan more comparable to Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy? Kind of depends on how many SRBs are on there, right?
Yeah, so that's. I think we first need to establish the whole configuration thing because Vulcan Centaur, very similar to, for example, Atlas, has multiple configuration. The configuration you're about to see is the Vulcan Centaur VC2 configuration, which will have 2 of the GEM63XL solid rocket booster attached. With that, it has a capability to launch up to 19 tons to LEO, which is fairly comparable to a Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is around in that ballpark. Of course, Falcon 9 also comes down to reusable, non-reusable, and there's a lot of technicalities here. However, it always comes also down to which orbit you're going on, because there's differences in the orbit and like the performance for example, going to GTO or beyond. Up to 6 SRBs can be attached to this rocket, which would boost the payload capacity to 27 tons to LEO.
Wow.
So that's where we are with 6 SRBs. And that's not Falcon Heavy. Like, to point it out, that's not the capability of Falcon Heavy. Has more capability. Like, Falcon Heavy can lift, let me give the right numbers here, but up to 63 tons, so about like double to triple. But Vulcan is still very, very capable, and it definitely is in the ballpark of like a very, very high-powered Falcon 9. So there you go.
Deal. We do have an update from ULA just a minute or two ago saying, go to roll. A readiness check of systems status by ULA launch conductor Dylan Rice has been completed satisfactorily. And ULA launch director Tom Heater 3 has, should I say the third? I'm just going to say Tom Heater 3. I'm sorry, Tom, if you happen to hear this. Authorized the rollout to begin.
Nice.
So we are standing by to initiate roll. So that is two things. One, it's a good update, and two, it proves yet again that Adrian was observing sundial-like effects.
Was observing sundial-like effects. Nice check.
I'm so glad we can establish this. This is totally fine.
It's canon. We have another update too as well. It says rollout underway. Hooray! Well, I said hooray. It doesn't say hooray. Rollout of the Vulcan rocket for its inaugural launch is underway. Vulcan launch platform will emerge from the vertical integration facility bound for Slick 41. The VIF is a 30-story building where the rocket stages and payload were put together for the mission aboard the VLP. The platform will travel to the pad with the help of undercarriage railcars. Das, you know all about this. And track mobile machines that push the entire 1.7 million pound platform and Vulcan along the tracks up the hill to the pad. The transfer will cover a distance of 1/3 of a mile and position the rocket for Monday's liftoff of the CERT-1 mission.
Nice.
Sweet.
No, it is. I mean, the building was originally built to manage other rockets, like handle other rockets, and so there was this infrastructure at the Cape. They had the launch pad, they had the vertical integration facility, and then there's actually rails that go between them. There's these massive train cars and a carriage that rides on these train cars, and what they do is they put the rocket on the carriage, and then the train cars carry the rocket directly out to the pad. They don't have to ask Space Coast County for road closures or anything like that. They don't have to like put out cones because they just have rails and they just roll the rocket out like that's dedicated what it's supposed to do. So that is what they are going to plan. There's a little bit of an interesting thing because when I was out there hanging out with ULA, there's a slight uphill section where it very slightly goes uphill. And they actually have to manage the momentum of the rocket, the entire vehicle, on the rails so that they don't stall out when it's going uphill. They literally have to get a running start to get up the hill, and if they slow down or if they have to stop while they're in a specific part of the rollout, they actually have to back it off again and get another running start to get up the little hill part there. Hey, wait, look!
No kidding. I see rocket.
There it is.
Okay, that's a bit more visible than what I looked at.
That looks significantly different than I think you thought it was, Adrian.
Yeah, it's speeding out.
So there you go, folks. It's a rocket with a paint job. That is the payload fairing up at the top. We can see part of the Vulcan logo there in ULA. Got the American
Oh,
flag down
perfectly
below.
timed
and then
birds.
Yeah.
Perfectly timed birds. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good. And then down below where we have the main body of the rocket. But it's such a cool looking rocket because they splurged for the paint job.
Really,
It's-
it really
it's-
is.
It's honestly one of the coolest looking rockets I've ever that are around right now. I think Vulcan
Nice.
is so cool.
Also, since they
It
did it
really-
in the morning, they're in the shade a little bit there. The vertical integration facility is still shading the rocket a bit. As you see that on the side of the rocket, Adrian? That's the sun.
Yeah, I see the sun and the shades. Yes, I'm
See
aware.
see how the sunlight moves as the okay. This is really beautiful though. What a beautiful rollout for a brand new rocket. And I mean, just look at this thing. It's gorgeous.
Yes, look at the paint job.
It reminds me a little bit of the Phoenix that Firefly did on their first flight. I'm 100% here for cool paint jobs on rockets.
I like cool paint jobs. Like when you have the capacity to put on a cool paint job,
Right.
I appreciate it when nobody's like, "Oh no, the paint job isn't mission critical." Like, come on, being excited about this rocket and having people look at it and be like, "Man, that's a cool new rocket. I can't wait to see that thing fly some more." The paint job is critical to that mission, getting people excited
is.
about space.
I mean, plus you throw like a racing stripe on there. That's plus like that adds a couple delta V, right? It makes it go faster.
Yes, absolutely. If you like lightning bolts and like
Flames,
Makes it
yeah, that
fast,
makes
yeah.
it go faster. Yeah, everybody knows that. Wait, Das, are you a external tank on the shuttle? Oh, look, I see a drone.
Oh wow, yeah, look at that.
Looks
like
like
one of
a
those
DJI
Inspires.
Inspire. Yeah,
Yeah, the
those are cool.
Transformer
You can
drones.
have a dual like camera operator and pilot setup, so the pilot doesn't have to operate the camera, so you can get some really cool shots. I believe it's a similar or same kind of drone that recently had a close encounter with a Raptor.
with a rocket engine, right? Can we
Yeah,
pull the
yeah.
ticker? Can we hide the ticker so we can see a little bit more of the bottom of the rocket here? Or maybe Max, I know Max is busy, but we could zoom out just a bit. There we go. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Look at
beautiful rockets.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Max,
while we were-
we're good once we pull the ticker, Max.
While we were talking about paint jobs, are you an external tank painted white or orange kind of guy, Das? I don't think I know this about you on the shuttle.
The orange is so written into the collective memory of what shuttle is. I
Right.
couldn't really. I can't imagine it with a white paint job, but I think orange is the color, right?
I mean, you're not going to hear me disagree, although the look, like, just because it changed after the first, what was it, 3 or 4 launches, those original white tank images are like so insanely iconic, and you know, it just makes them look more retro and I don't know, historical. For Alex is in chat just screaming white external tank over and over again. All right, so we know where Alex falls. But I ask, you know, it's interesting because Vulcan is not going to be painted like this for every flight, right? I believe ULA has said that.
I hope
Sorry.
I hope it's still like going back and forth on that. Like I think there I remember some sort of discussion on the Everything app or whatever, where it was like going back and forth, but I don't remember exactly where it fell, and who knows exactly what's going to happen. So
Got it. Well, there is the possibility that future Vulcan rockets do not look like this, and we're getting like an extra special treat. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll shut my yap.
Have we paused here? I think we have.
Yeah, I think you're right. It kind of hauled butt right to this spot, and then now it is. We talked about this a little bit before we went live, right, Das? Sometimes this is like a hold point where they do some checks, and I don't know. You were there. Explain.
No, that's true. So if the rollout goes, because it's the same structure, it's the same mobile platform, it's most of it's the same. The rocket is just different. If it follows the same procedure as the Atlas rollouts do, they get it out, they sort of clear the building here, then they do some final checks, they make sure everything's good to go. So we expect, I don't remember the exact time in totally different rockets, but if I remember, it was 15, 20, 25 minutes or something like that, where they were making sure everything's good, walking around, making sure they're ready to go the rest of the way, and then it will start to move again. So if this is following the same procedure, which I think it makes sense, you know, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it makes sense. We should expect to see it pause here for just a bit, and then everybody starts screaming, not when the sun moves, but when the rocket starts to move again. So we can see it roll.
I'm in pain.
I'm just saying, Adrian.
I am loving this. Like this is. Oh my god, I love it. I'm
I
sorry,
still-
Adrian,
I-
but I'm also not.
So here's my counterpoint. I don't regret the point where we went live because then we saw the speedy it coming out. So
Yeah, that's true.
I feel validated.
Yeah. Oh boy, we did get to see it. You're right. Instead of it like going out and then it's like we roll the intro and the rocket's already out. Like we did do it just right. Oh, Max inspecting the rocket here. Nice, Max.
Oh, it's still
Nice.
moving. You can see how it is there.
Oh, it is. You're
Yeah,
right. Good call.
Maybe it's moving again.
Maybe it's the sun.
Nah, that tree is not being moved by the sun right now. There's a tree at the bottom.
It usually does, but not right now. Not right now. It's not moved by the sun.
There you go, folks. If you're just joining us, you can tell by the big paint job on the side of the rocket and the mobile tower there. This is ULA's Vulcan rocket. This is not a mock-up. This is the rocket that is scheduled to launch, currently targeting early AM on Monday morning. It's 2:18. We fixed the clock up there. Time zones, how do they work? But that L- clock is the correct countdown now, L- 63 hours. You know, I looked at that and I was like, surely they got that right when they put that into the stream. I didn't say anything out loud, but it's not 39 hours. It's 63 hours before the opening of the window for Vulcan to launch on Monday morning. Another interesting thing about this mission is that it's not like, I don't know, we're just going to eat the rocket and maybe it'll get to Miko. I don't know. Maybe it'll pass Max Q. Like, that is not what ULA is doing here. They've got a payload on this rocket, and it's going all the way to the moon on its first launch. That is their plan. Not
not
great
just
success
any
if we don't blow up on the pad.
Not just any payload, not just any destination for the payload, but a lunar lander.
A
The
lunar
Peregrine
lander.
lunar lander for Astrobotic. I always want to say biotic. I don't know why. My brain is broken, I suppose. But yeah, that's quite a flex. It's quite impressive to put a lunar lander on the first flight of a rocket. Props to ULA. But that's kind of a good illustration of the difference in like corporate philosophy and operations between ULA and some other companies out there. Where ULA is like very methodical. They're going to get it right the first time. I don't think any of us expects any issues with the first flight of this rocket. I think it's going to do its job exactly because everything has been studied and gone over 6 ways from Sunday. Not saying other companies don't study and analyze everything thoroughly. It's just this is just sort of what we come to expect from ULA. So it's quite a flex to have a lunar lander on your first launch, and I'm excited for it. Let's go back to the moon. Dang it, moon, moon, moon.
Moon, moon, moon. Nice, Jack.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive for me. Like BE4 as an engine will have 2 maiden launches, right? One on Vulcan, one on New Glenn, and both of them will be they will leave the like main Earth area, like no geo or anything. The first Vulcan will go to the moon, and then we have New Glenn going to Mars. So it's like that's quite a good start for an engine, I would say, in terms of cool first missions.
I think we're a little bit further away from New Glenn going to Mars because this rocket is rolling to the pad, and we've spied New Glenn bits and pieces from the air a couple times, but it's a little bit further out than this one is. This one's on its way to the pad for launch in less than, 3 days? Friday to Saturday to Sunday.
It's in 63 hours, 26 minutes, and 30
which would be
seconds.
72 hours, I guess. So, anyways, we got more
Hopefully
questions.
we do see New Glenn soon, but yeah, I mean, either way, I do agree, Adrian. It's a good start for this engine. Yeah, we do have more questions. We talked about this a little bit, but comrade number 2207 has more questions about the smart reuse.
Okay.
They're asking, how does ULA plan to recover the engine bay after re-entry? I believe it splashes down and sort of floats in the heat shield, right?
Yeah, they have that inflatable heat shield. They did like a subscale demonstration. They've done some full-scale operations, like practicing with it floating on the water and being lifted by cranes and that sort of stuff. So it's supposed to come down, and it has this big heat shield that inflates and slows it down. And then it also sort of serves as a raft. Whenever it splashes down, it's supposed to sort of float there with the inflated, almost like a big airbag, right? Big
in case of
cone-shaped
emergency,
airbag.
your heat shield may also be used as a raft.
As a flotation device for
Yeah,
your
there you
engine
go.
section. But that's the plan. And then we've seen some operations. Tori tweeting behind the scenes shots and stuff like that, where they've got it floating and they have cranes on it and they're lifting it on and off a ship and that sort of stuff. So that is the plan. Haven't seen it installed on flight hardware, but they're doing all that testing, all that sort of learning with it in advance. It'll be really interesting to see that system work. Hopefully I hope we see that work one day.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, reuse seems to be the clear path forward for all rockets, and it's nice to see that ULA has been thinking about it, I mean, thoroughly since basically the start of Vulcan, so it's just a matter of time, hopefully.
Like, does everybody understand what we're talking about there? Like, the math that ULA has done is that the majority of the expense and complication of the rocket system is in the bottom part where the engines are, right? So you have the engine mounts and you have this back section and you have your engines, and that is, I don't remember the exact numbers, but like say 90% of the expense and complexity, right? So they're thinking, go ahead.
That's the number, by the way. It's 90% of the first stage propulsion cost.
There you go.
Wow.
So the math that they did was, instead of recovering the entire rocket and re-stretching the other parts of the payload frame, the airframe and that sort of stuff, they're just going to recover 90% of the complexity and the expense and that sort of stuff by just recovering the engines and having those sort of parachute down with the inflatable heat shield, yada, yada, yada. Now, lots of different ways to think of it. That's the way that ULA is going about it and what they think will work for them with their design and their cadence and that sort of stuff. Very curious if, how many years ago that plan was made, and is there now industry knowledge, like you can observe what is happening in the industry that may have changed that calculation a little bit. I wonder, right? But it'll be very interesting to see if we get to see that system actually happening. Coming up on about halfway for the roll, it looks like.
That's kind of like, this rollout is going so fast.
I like it.
Yeah, nice and smooth.
Somewhere in here, I can't tell you exactly where it is, but somewhere in here is the little bump in the rollout, right? Where they have to maintain the momentum and keep it going uphill. Remember, the rocket is, oh, you know something? I don't know for Vulcan.
Is it?
The SR?
I mean,
Go ahead, Jack.
I almost feel like I can see it starting to go uphill. Maybe does it look slightly like it's going uphill to you? I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things.
I don't know. I think maybe that camera was a little bit tilted because it's been on the roof in the sun. That roof is rubber, by the way. It's really tough to keep these cameras level.
I've been up there.
It's like a trampoline where we have these cameras mounted.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's rolling.
It makes sense
there.
that there's a hill though, right? Because this is all basically on the water, right next to the ocean, and you're at sea level. But you need a flame trench or some other mitigating device. In this case, a flame trench. So yeah, no, Adrian, flame trenches are kind of important.
You can't build flame trenches. There's a water table.
Right. So you build a large concrete foundation and structure, and that's why it has to go uphill, because it has to go up onto the thing that they've built the flame trench into, since you can't, dig into the ground, water table, blah blah blah. You get it.
The Cape over here batting its eyes at the fact that you can't build flame trenches because of water tables. Like, 60 years, is it? Like, how long have we had these things here?
Musical Wolves in chat says, "What's a flame trench?"
What's a flame trench? Oh, thrust director, or whatever you want to call it. Anyways, rolling along here. What I was sort of getting into there was that the SRBs have fuel in them, right? By definition, they're solid rocket motors. You don't pump solid fuel into it and let it solidify after the rocket gets to the pad. They're preloaded, right? And so there wouldn't be any liquid oxygen in here right now, which removes a lot of weight from the vehicle, right? And then the RP-1, I would have to. Has anybody read this for Vulcan specifically? Do they tank the RP-1 before they rolled it out, or they tank the RP-1 at the pad? Yeah, that's what they do with Atlas, sorry.
Sorry, the question is basically if they tank the first stage before rollout?
The RP-1 specifically, because the RP-1 is stable and it just operates at ambient temperatures. You don't have to keep it cryogenically pressurized or cooled.
But
or
there is no RP-1, Das.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Thank you.
You had me going for a second there. I was like, yeah, the RP-1. No,
methane.
Yes. So it isn't. It doesn't have any methane in it. Aha. I have Atlas rollout on the brain here, but you're absolutely right. It only is going to have the propellant for the SRBs, and because this is a methane rocket, there is no methane in it, and there is no liquid oxygen. Nice.
For a
I like
second, I
new
was like,
things.
it's not an RP1 upper stage. It's a Hydrolox upper stage. Like, what's going on?
I felt a bit gaslighted there. I remember like RP1? What are we? Which stage?
Thank you. There we go.
They're hybrid. They're hybrid solids that use combination of P-band and RP1.
Very confusing. They just spray RP1 down the center of the pattern of the solid
Dear
propellant
God.
grid. Like, wait, you did what? Thank you. Because we did the whole interview and we talked about it, and what I was getting into was, the rocket isn't loaded with propellants right now, and then it was like, oh well, it's RP1 on the Atlas, and I'm like, did they load it? But of course they didn't load it. It's methane. This is Vulcan. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. To be fair, if I had gotten a super cool tour of Slick 20 or Slick 41 and seen an Atlas roll out right next to me, it would definitely be overriding all other brain cells in my brain.
That's one of the coolest thing about this launches for me, because you all know I'm a fan of methane rockets, right? So like seeing another methane rocket come to life here and getting ready to fly, that's such an important and interesting part about this mission for me, because it really feels like it's this fuel of the future that is being used more and more in rocketry, and ULA will maybe be the first ones to bring it to orbit from the US.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were talking about that. Go ahead, Jack.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say I'm gonna have to confess I love the Hydrolox upper stage. I love me a good super high energy upper stage. So the Centaur upper stage I'm a big fan of. So it's not just the fun cool thing of a methane rocket, which is awesome, and like you said, fuel of the future, Adrian. The Hydrolox upper stage also just makes me feel like even though it's not necessarily future-y, because we've had Hydrolox vehicles, it feels like a very efficient, well thought out vehicle. But Das, what were you gonna say?
No, it's an optimized design, right?
Yeah.
Like it is very much designed for optimization towards the high energy orbits and payloads and trajectories. As opposed to trying to standardize and simplify, where it's just one sort of fuel. It's surely less efficient because you've just standardized to one sort of fuel, one sort of engine, yada, yada, yada. That means you lose some efficiency, but you also remove some complexity, right? And that's what SpaceX tries to go for with this. They want to simplify the operation, so they sort of standardize that, but that means that those rockets are less efficient. They're literally just brute forcing their way into orbit a lot of the times, right? And then over here, you've got I think more complicated is a fair thing to say, design, because you have different fuels, you have different types of engines, but because you've done that, you've sort of dialed in for efficiency. You've designed the thing to be as efficient as you can, as opposed to, I don't know, make it bigger and just put more fuel in it, just brute force it into space, versus sort of finessing it or efficienting it into space, launching it into space efficiently.
Also, it introduces the whole situation that always has been a trouble. It's hydrogen in the upper stage, which we all know can be a pain to deal with, because it basically goes through everything. If you have a small leak, hydrogen.
That you say that, because I think that there are pretty significant amount of problems with methane valves as well. Hydrogen has a bad rep because everybody looks at the periodic table and they're like, oh, hydrogen goes through everything, right? But I don't know. Like, show me the graph, spreadsheet guy, of number of times that hydrogen has leaked through a valve versus methane has leaked through a valve. I feel like
you're gonna get the shuttle people in here yelling at you, just because even whether or not it's based on empirical evidence or not, the shuttle people have suffered so much from hydrogen issue scrubs, especially in the later years of the shuttle program.
That's because the shuttle launched 130 plus times. Show me 130 methane launches and let's see what happens.
I would say the problem with this is sample size, because the only other sample size we have right now is Starship, which is, let's just say it's hard to compare it against everything, because it feels like it built in a field in Texas. So I'm not sure if that's a representative candidate. I'm looking forward to see what Vulcan will do at the first stage, and the other is a Chinese rocket where we don't get updates on valves. So.
Crispy's just typed in chat in all caps. I am yelling.
I see that.
But fair
Anyway,
point. Fair point.
I feel like we have a lot of experience running hydrolocks. We have significantly less experience as the Earth, right? Running methane rockets and methalox engines and that sort of stuff. So I really want to see how it shakes out. I think people just sort of look at the periodic table and have flashbacks to scrubs of shuttle past, right? And that colors our opinion as opposed to, yeah, we've launched 130 methane rockets, and we know that this is how it works.
Well, plus, I mean, you look at the molecule. The methane's got that big old carbon on there. Like, at least there's that.
That's what people like to look at. But gosh, those molecules are small, and gosh, valves and things are big compared to those molecules.
Absolutely.
TLDR, valves are also complicated.
Valves are complicated. Yeah. You want to be a rocket scientist? First, learn valves. You need to be a valve scientist.
Become a plumber.
Become a plumber. There you go.
Sounds like almost like when you play Sims. It's like the career involvement. Like you start as a plumber and you end as an astronaut, or something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
You could start as a plumber and end as a rocket scientist, rocket engineer, because you gotta sort your valves out.
Yep.
It looks like we have paused again here. I think.
I'm like doing maybe it's moving real slow. I'm trying to compare it to that lightning tower.
Yeah, maybe it's like creeping.
I'm looking at the sun.
Of course you're looking at that. Don't look at the sun, Adrian. That's the eclipse coming up in April.
We've been over this. You're not supposed to do that. Yeah. You don't touch the spaceflight hardware. You don't stare at the sun.
Max's shot is great as well. It's a little bit closer in, and it has a light pole. I don't think that the distance is closing on that light pole. So it's paused a little bit. If they had like a hopper or something, it would be checking its papers right now, as we like to say at Starbase. But yeah, that's just a cool looking rocket, yo.
Also in the background is 39A just casually hanging out.
Oh, nice. Hard to get the shot from this angle without the other pad there in the background, but
you want me to hit some support here while we wait for it to start moving again?
Absolutely.
Venetian, I am not going to pronounce this name right. Venetian, thank you so much for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Oh, it's Vanishing Image. Oh my God, I can read words. Vanishing Image, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. If you got a membership from Vanishing Image, thank them, because that was awful nice of them.
Nice.
Grass Vent with a $5 super chat. They just say Adrian.
What?
Grass Vent.
Dean Brillhart, thank you for the support there. They say bacon for Jack's early morning stream breakfast. I haven't had bacon in like a week. I think I'm gonna have withdrawals.
Are you shaking?
Yeah. Bideford, thank you for the support. Well, I'm like trying to think of it's not delirium tremens, it's delirium bacons. Yeah, there you
it's
go.
Right there.
Dear God. Okay, Bideford, thank you for the very generous super chat. As always, they say, okay, Das, Jack, or Adrian, any secrets that any of you can share with us NSF nerds? Chris wimped out yesterday. Happy New Year. Secrets? What?
What? No,
they're trying to get us to leak things.
Leaks. Chris didn't wimp out. You just weren't listening.
Oh, was this on the Raptor side yesterday?
You can't talk for 5 minutes without leaking something from L2 or something. Then again, he
That's
gets
true.
to decide, right? It's his decision whether or not he leaks something from L2. So
he is the decider.
He is the decider, the Chris stamp of approval.
So if he's the decider, Chris, is hydrogen bad compared to methane?
The leak just. Oh wait, well, I mean, technically, if we're talking about leaking.
Hey! Somebody throw a pun token up there.
Chris is opening the L2 valve if he decides to.
Nice.
John Deppner, thank you so much for the support. They say difference of boosters for Vulcan versus boosters on Atlas. The solids, are they the same as on Atlas, Adrian? If memory serves, they started flying like quote unquote the new boosters on Atlas to gain flight heritage with them. So they technically are the same ones as used on Atlas, but Atlas didn't always use those.
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, I think these are both graphite epoxy motors. I'm not 100% like if it's the exact same mounting and everything, but they are both graphite epoxy. That's the new one. They are using both an Atlas and a Vulcan, but they initially used the AJ60A, which was, I think, a different compound. But I'm like, I have to totally honest here. I don't have any compound in my head right now. Would have to look this up.
It's scooting again, by the way. It's scooting forward.
Nice.
It looks
It's
like.
Oh, Lord, it's scooting.
Thank you, Jack.
You know,
Yeah, so
I'm just here for the really good commentary. So
yeah, it changed. It was HTPB as the propellant for the AJ60A SRBs. But so yes, they are both using the graphite epoxy composite as fuel.
There you go.
and also, John, I have to. Okay, I'm gonna try again. John Depker. There's no N, right? John Depker. That's how you say it. I always get his last name wrong.
It's
Does anyone else
Stepka.
want to try?
It's Stepka.
Depker.
Yes.
There we go. Thank you, John. Sideshow Bob gifting a red team membership. Hopefully, not stepping on any rakes. Von Predator. Thank you for the super chat. Apocalypse Cow. Thank you as well with a very generous one. They say, so, will this be flying an actual payload on its first flight ever? How much of a gamble is that, given it's essentially a test flight? Well, we talked about this. It's a lunar lander. It's not just any
It's
payload,
not just a
right?
payload like a wheel of cheese or something. It is a lunar lander.
I love that you say wheel of cheese because it's both preposterous and has actually
An
happened.
actual, yeah. I mean, but no, it is a gamble. I think that it's fair to say that it is a gamble, but it's a calculated gamble. It's a calculated risk. Astrobotic. There's not an extra thing in there. I have to think about it too, Jack. Like every time I say their name.
I want to say Astrobiotic, but no, that's
every
going to be a
time.
medication that you get as a moon soldier or something. Like, take your
Like it's your
Astrobiotic.
moon antibiotic. Like, did you
Yeah.
get cut on the moon? Apply Astrobiotic. It comes in
Yeah,
a
there
little
you
tube.
go.
You can loot
Apply
it
directly
in
to the suit.
Fallout, Starfield, like. Anyways,
Oh man.
yeah, it does have a lander. It does have a payload on it, not just a payload, but a lunar lander. And it is fair to say that it's a gamble. How much of a gamble? The answer would be that the payload customer, Astrobotic, it is enough of a. What's the right way to say it? The math works for them, right?
And they're motivated too, I'm sure, to get their payload on its way to the moon. It's not trivial to find a vehicle and a launch slot that will get you to the moon. A lot of times these things are booked years and years and years out in advance. So I'm sure that factored into it as well. It's like, hey, we can get it there. We can ride the first one if you want, and if they're reasonably confident, then you can say sure.
Also, this is part of with collaboration with NASA because it's like part of CLPS, right? The Commercial Lunar Payload Services. So this is like there's also NASA payloads on Astrobotics lander, and this is basically a whole effort of this whole situation of bringing payloads to the moon, experimenting there.
Getting
so
ready for
there's
Artemis.
probably also this is all part of this new generation moon effort. So there's probably also NASA involved, who's like who's very keen on and very understanding of the capabilities and chances of Vulcan, and they feel confident as well to put their payloads, which are on Astrobotics, on this mission.
Yep. So, long story short, everybody involved did the math. ULA says, hey, we've done the math, and it's time to launch this thing. And Astrobiotic, oh my gosh. Astrobotic
Sorry,
said,
I poisoned your brain. I'm sorry.
No, I was doing that before. It's a tough word to say. But they did the math, and they said, hey, we are confident that we want to put our payload on this. But every rocket launch is a gamble. Every time you put something up there, the energy is involved and the systems involved and the complexity is involved. There's no sure thing in rocket launching. So we will get to see here, like I said, currently scheduled for Monday, early a.m. 2:18 a.m. Eastern time, local time for the rocket here. On Monday morning, we'll see if we get to see a methane solid booster light show.
It should be quite beautiful. I'm unreasonably excited for this launch. I'm glad the first launch is at night. A lot of times especially with first flights, you're like, oh, I wish it was during Artemis, perfect example. I kind of wish Artemis first flight had been a day launch. It was a day launch, but at the same time, to get those solids lighting up at night is always spectacular. And then of course, the methane engines on this puppy. I'm expecting great things from Max and Julia and all of the Cape photographers when it comes to imagery of this launch. It's going to be a really nice one. So, anyways, thank you, Apocalypse Cow, for the 2024 super chat for 2024. We appreciate you.
Nice.
Musical Wolves, thank you so much for the support. They say, what is the miles per gallon of the transporter? This is a DOS question.
Very low. It's not miles per gallon. It's gallons per mile.
Well,
More
it's not a crawler though, right? Because it's train tracks, so maybe it's not quite as bad.
That's what I was going to say, but it's designed for torque and power. It's not designed for gas mileage. They're basically train engines, and they have the big diesel electric generators that drive the train cars, basically, right?
Right.
So it's definitely gallons per mile. It's a third of a mile, so it's really probably gallons per third of a mile. I don't remember. I had an entire discussion, and I don't remember if they gave me the exact fact, like how many gallons of fuel they use in that third of a mile, because then we could do the math. But in any event, it is designed to get it there safely. It is not designed for gas mileage.
Safety, not speed.
Safety, not speed. I like it. Power, not speed.
There you go. Ron Smith, thank you for the super chat. They say should be easier for DOS as all the major providers switch over to methane going forward. Blushy Boy, thanks for... Go ahead.
I did the same thing when we were like looking at stainless steel tanks constantly for the first time. Falcon 9 was coming back in, and then I was talking about the stainless steel tank structure, and I was like, wait a second, that's not right. It's not stainless steel on Falcon 9. I just had Starship on the brain. It happens.
It happens. Blushy Boy,
Lots of
gifting a
rocket.
Red Team membership, thank you. The Nozzle, also gifting a Red Team membership, the Nozzle. Ben Ness or Bensis 42, thank you for the support. They say, I can't believe this is actually happening. Do we have an expected launch date? Yes, DOS just said. Monday morning, 2:18 a.m. Was it 2:13? 2:18.
218. 218.
Dennis, thank you for gifting Red Team memberships. Really appreciate that. Adrian, say his last name for us.
Kunzel.
Kunzel? Nice. Dennis Kunzel, thank you. And Apocalypse Cow again, coming back for some more support, gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much. Philip, with a super chat, watched Peregrine being built by Astrobotic. I had to think about it.
Deliberately say it.
Yeah, watched Peregrine being built by Astrobotic from the connected Moonshot Museum. So excited to see it integrated and ready for launch. Ad Astra. That's really cool. I'm going to have to look up that Moonshot Museum.
Yeah.
And Jeff Rowe gifting a Red Team membership. Thank you, Jeff.
We probably could have done a live stream from the Moonshot Museum.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I wonder. That's always what I go to. It's like, ooh, could we stream from there? Could we
do a 24? Could we do a 24/7 stream of a lander being built?
I mean, that would be awesome. That would be
That would be
serious.
awesome.
I would be 100% here for that. I would need more screens, which is a little bit onerous considering the amount of screens I have, but I would be welcome.
The funny thing is, I feel like I have a good amount of screen real estate here right now, but I feel like I'm the person with the least amount of screens in this call right now.
Probably so. I like this from chat. Eric Fraser said it's the MML, Moonshot Museum Live.
Nice. Here's kind of an interesting question. Khalid is asking, is this the first time ULA has developed a rocket? I feel like Delta IV Heavy probably counts, but famously ULA is a merger of parts of Boeing and parts of Lockheed Martin, right? And Lockheed brought... Oh, I always get this wrong. I think Lockheed brought Delta and Boeing... No, Lockheed brought Atlas and Boeing brought Delta, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong.
Delta IV Heavy was initially developed by Boeing. The development was later then moved to ULA, but it was initially not ULA. So I wouldn't fully count it because the concept and design initially was Boeing.
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. So this would you say, Adrian, that this is the first time that ULA has fully like in-house developed a rocket?
Yes, I would say this is the first fully ULA designed rocket. That like at least fully designed, not built because there are parts that are not built by ULA, but like overall fully designed by ULA. Yes,
it really is. I think DOS, you saying optimized, like that. It's just such a lovely design. It's almost like a Porsche 911 or something of rockets. Like it's just
Yeah.
extremely optimized. It just looks powerful, especially with that super cool paint job.
That flame on the side, man, that makes it look like it'll go super fast.
It's like at least plus it's a 20 additional ISP at least.
Nice.
Vulcan always feels like super logical to me. Like if you follow a lot of conclusions about why would you put methane on your first stage, why would you add SRBs, why would you put hydrogen on your second stage, like it follows logical conclusions for me, and it just makes sense the way it is. That's always how I think about Vulcan.
Yeah.
The SRBs do look a little like it's interesting because it's very much, I don't know if I want to say stick rocket, but it has a very flat side, right? Sometimes you get little things that stick off and then the fairing gets a little bit bigger and it's like a rocket shape, right? But this is very straight down the sides, just straight lines. And then the SRBs on the bottom sort of sticking off. I think it's going to be
a good look.
It is. It's going to be interesting what this looks like. We've seen the methane engine flames take off, right? Was that a Terran that we got from the Cape?
Yep.
Yes. The night launch of Terran where we had that blue, it looks so cool. The blue and the purple, it is amazing. And we've seen static fires. We've seen all sorts of methane engine flames. But here we're going to have the SRBs, which make that like orange, smoky, blown out. So I always like to say it rides the space on a pillar of smoke. Like you see one of those in the daytime, and there is literally a pillar of SRB smoke behind it that you don't get when it's just the liquid fueled engines. And then you have the clean methane engines in the middle. I think it's going to be a really interesting look, the dichotomy between those two engine types.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the interaction between the two plumes.
Oh,
like if we get any of that as the vehicle ascends. It's just all eyes, for good reason, are on this vehicle. It's going to be a really good way to start out the year. I mean, we had the Falcon 9 RTLS, and now we're going to have first flight of Vulcan. It's so exciting. It's just, what a time. What a time to be a space fan.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the fact that the SRBs are not fully like overpowering the first stage, like because if you have the situation where it's more a sustainer stage that is ignited at the ground, for example, with arguably SLS, you end up in a situation where of course the SRBs are much more bright and visible because they are also of course emitting so much more power. Here it's kind of even actually. It's we are the SRBs, two of them are barely weaker than the first stage. So it's a bit more of a balance, and I don't think they will completely overpower the visuals of the methane engines.
It's like 50-50 versus like Shuttle. When Shuttle took off, what was the number? I want to say like 83 or something, but most of the thrust at liftoff for Shuttle was from the two SRBs. And then a little bit of thrust from the three RS-25s on the shuttle itself. Versus this, where look at the size of the SRBs, and then imagine a shuttle SRB next to this, and just the difference between the main core size and the SRB size here. So more balanced, I think you could say. Like that is what you said.
Yeah.
Das, what's the best shuttle? Have I asked you this already?
I honestly like all the shuttles.
Come on!
I know a lot of people. Nope, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is my best shuttle, and this is why, and this is my best shuttle." Every time I walk up to one of those, because I've seen them all, I'm like, that thing has done battle with space. Like that thing is very important to what we were able to accomplish up there. And the best shuttle is almost like the last one you've seen, because it's like, man, that thing was cool. And then you get to Enterprise, right? And I know that Enterprise didn't go to space. But the fact that some folks got together and then they drew this thing, they're like, I don't know, what if we did this? What if we strap it to the side and then like make it like a plane?
I don't believe you. Oh, screw you! I'll make a model of it and fly it.
I'll just do it. Look here. Let me make this little stainless steel thing in the wind tunnel. Trust me, it works. And how do we test this? I guess let's strap it to the top of a 747 and then fly it up and let it go. Like, seriously, everything. It's just. God, so much work and so much thinking and so much design and innovation went into all those vehicles. I get it. People have favorites. I've seen them all, and every single one of them makes you go like, dang, we do cool stuff.
It really is the right way to... Oh, get out of here.
What?
Das, do you have mute powers? Mute him. I don't have mute powers, but you might.
Okay,
keep from server powers, Jack.
It's the last one I saw, so there you go.
All right. Don't make me start spamming the farewell dossier in chat again. Because I will. But no, like to your point, Das. When you see a shuttle, it really does look like they've done battle with space. Like
Yeah.
they look beautiful. To me, looking at a brand new rocket, like such as we're seeing right here with Vulcan, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yep.
But there's something about used spaceflight hardware where you can see like the scars of spaceflight and just really have it illustrated to you the dynamics that have just ravaged the vehicle. It's like the Millennium Falcon or something. Like real spacecraft look dirty
Look
and
like
used
this,
and
greebly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In any
It's
event, I think that Jack is going to, or not Jack, I think that Max is going to have to pack up the camera over there. Again, ULA and I think some of the NASA payload folks allowed us to get cameras a little bit closer there, but Max is going to have to pack up that broadcast rig and take it on back in. So y'all, chat really quick, please. Massive thanks to Max Evans, who rolled out there to get us those close-up views, and massive thanks to ULA and the NASA folks for supporting us in getting those closer views of the rollout there today. There's Max. Hey, follow him over on the Everything app, the Everything app, or whatever you want to do. And I think we've got some tweets. Do we link up some of Max's tweets?
Oh, we should. He took some
Yeah, we
killer
should.
shots.
He did
as
take some killer
usual.
shots. Yeah, I'll see if I can grab those real quick. If you have another question to hit real quick, Jack.
We love you, Max. We do have a super chat from Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. And also a $20 super chat. Thank you so much from Doug Ramsey saying, how many BE4s has Blue Origin managed to produce so far? And for this, I'm going to throw it to our resident Blue Origin person, fan, whatever you want to call it, observer, our Blue Origin observer in chief, Adrian.
Nice.
The question really comes down to to what you qualify as has built a BE4. So far, flight-worthy BE4s that are on vehicles, well, 2. Because that's the ones that are on Vulcan here. We know they're testing a lot, but we don't have a serial number with this. The only reason we have a better understanding on Raptor for that is because we sometimes see the serial numbers. We know that they're regularly testing BE4s at a test site in Texas. Because we can see based on satellite imagery that the dirt changes, and if the dirt changes, we know they're testing BE4s. That's what's happening there. But we don't know. Like the sad answer and the sad conclusion is we don't know exactly how many BE4s they have. I would expect at this point that the answer is 2 flight-worthy ones that are fully tested, and these are on this rocket. And everything beyond that will come with time. But again, ramping up engine production takes time. And I hope we will see more BE4s because Vulcan will need them, and New Glenn will need them as well.
Yeah. What's with every company ever testing at rocket engines in Texas?
I mean,
Like Firefly has a test site in Texas, SpaceX has an engine test site, Blue Origin has an engine test site. There's probably others I'm forgetting at this point.
it's just a good place to test rocket engines.
I guess so.
It's like, no, like actually, it's not so far out, like the desert or Utah, right?
Right.
Like there's enough civilization in Texas where
but
you
also
don't have
enough
to,
space.
Yeah, exactly. You can relatively rapidly, I guess you could say, go from like Austin, where Firefly is, or Dallas, or I guess Starbase is way down there, but Brownsville, you get up to Corpus, San Antonio, right? There's
Right.
infrastructure in cities and stuff like that sort of spread all over the state, so you're not really too far away from civilization.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Really
I mean,
the right way to say it. Resources.
Even Corn Ranch for Blue Origin, in Blue Origin's case, like that is about an hour and a half, 2 hours from El Paso, which is a pretty dang major city. So that's a good point. But at the same time, even though it's that close to such a large city, it's also very remote. Let's put it that way.
Way out there. You're right. That is a little bit far out there. There's not a lot happening in Van Horn.
Beautiful though.
It is
absolutely
nice. It's
beautiful.
So nice. Partially because there's not a lot of stuff happening out there.
There is a 10,000-year clock that Bezos has built into the side of a mountain.
Really?
Yeah, like when you were at Blue Origin's facility out there in Corn Ranch, like you are in a valley basically,
Yeah.
and one of the mountains on one side of the valley, you can even see some of the just a small little marks of the construction. But yeah, 10,000 year clock. Go figure.
I'm not even. I
I've always
need to
wanted
read
to-
more about that. I don't even know what that means, like 10,000 year clock. But all right.
It's a clock designed to run undisturbed for 10,000 years for reasons, art or something.
I'm gonna
But
go.
I've always
read about that.
meant to drive up there. Find a dirt road and take the rover up there. But I've never gotten around to it yet.
Huh. Interesting.
Holy cow!
What's- Oh, go ahead.
We have
there
a
you go.
$100 super chat from Russell Snodgrass, a regular with the crazy high dollar super chats. That's so much money. It's an insane amount of money. Thank you, Russell, so much. It's just, I don't know how you do it, but we appreciate you so much. They say, how long do we expect prop load to take on this vehicle? What time Sunday night? Will the live stream start? These are Adrian questions if I've ever heard them.
Oh yeah, but the later one I don't think we have it. Like we are probably going a bit earlier than we because there's a lot of talk about within Man Flight, so we will probably go live a bit earlier than usual. As for prop load, I do not believe we have a timeline yet from ULA of how long exactly prop load will take.
We went through the
we-
wet dress rehearsal.
Yeah,
And stuff like that. But the wet dress rehearsal is sort of like shaking out things, right? So not
Yeah.
necessarily going to go that way. But hey, the first flight is also going to shake out things. So
yeah. Especially with ULA, I'm always curious with wet dress rehearsal versus flight because they like to have like these planned holds, right?
Yep.
So it's always like hard to predict how exactly the timeline will shake out. We will be live. I can tell you that we will watch it. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. We'll announce it. We're going to make the stream live here on the channel. So if you're not already following the channel here, make sure you toss a little follow, turn on the notifications. If you're in the Discord, etc., we're going to talk about it all these different places. So just be on the lookout, and some amount of time in advance we'll announce what that stream start is, given the T0 L0, whichever one we want to go with there, of 2:18 a.m. Middle of the night on Monday though.
Thank you so much, Russell. That is you're voting with your dollars, and you're always coming through with the insane super chats, and we're gonna get to see a lot of cool stuff this year, and you're helping power the machine. So thank you. I mean, we've got New Glenn, we've got Vulcan, we've got more Starship, we've got who knows what else. I mean, it's gonna be a really good year.
Yep. Y'all keep showing up and keep supporting and trusting in what we do, and we will keep looking at pictures of rockets and talking about them for hours on end. How's that sound?
Debating the merits of a painted tank, or what's the best shuttle, or arguing
really
about
is.
hydrogen versus methane.
It really is a good time. It's a good community to be a part of, and I'm glad that so many people like to hang out with us and just talk about cool space stuff. The more of this stuff you sort of let osmose into your brain, right? You're just exposed to it. You just talk about it, and you're like, oh yeah, I thought I heard somebody talking about that. It all builds up. You don't have to memorize every single thing. You don't have to quote every single stat. Just being here hanging out with us is a good way to appreciate what is going on.
Absolutely.
What's our plan here for the rest of the stream? I mean, Vulcan's made it all the way over to Slick 41. There's an entire operation here. So the train cars, the carriage that carried the rocket and the mobile platform over there are going to sort of kneel down. They're going to hydraulically lower down a little bit. And then the train cars get out of the way. There's actually a storage building, like an armored storage building, and some of the train cars roll into this armored storage building. We won't be able to see that from here. It's multiple miles away and the trees in the way and stuff like that. But they still have to set the rocket down, and they'll settle down onto the launch mount, these huge concrete pillars that sort of get everything aligned for launch, make sure all the lines and the hoses and stuff like that, the connections are going to connect correctly. They clear all that other stuff out. While they work on it, they actually have these massive plates, these big plates that go underneath the rocket, and they're working, and they pull all those plates out to expose the engines to the flame trench, right? But from these distances with these views, we're not going to get a lot of close-up detail on that. So I think we're going to come to the end of our commentary. Before I forget, who followed Max? Did anybody hop over there and toss a follow to Max on Twitter? I think we have some more tweets that we could show on the screen here.
Oh yeah,
Just
let's look at his
to-
photos.
photos. There you go. Just to appreciate Max and getting, what is this? A tweet for ants?
Reference
click on the
acknowledged.
link if you would like
Adrian
to
doesn't
see
get
this
the
tweet
reference,
larger.
but Adrian laughed, but he didn't get the reference. But I'll allow it.
I linked that tweet up into chat. Let me see if I can put this tweet. Yeah, there we go. I hope that's the same tweet. There's a link to it so you can see it. Zoom in on the image and stuff. Max is out there. It's going to be getting hotter in the summer. He's running all over the Cape with us, dragging equipment around. A lot of times he just has a huge stack of cameras. He's taking stills. He's doing time lapses. He's giving us this live feed. So please toss some love to, hey, there we go, to Mr. Max Evans over there. That one says, come on now. Nice, as it's rolling out. Beyond that, I think it is time for us to start wrapping up our commentary. Jack?
You didn't even draw on screen at all.
I know I didn't. Oh,
Do we want
jeez.
to mention the coloring thing?
Oh, you know something. I don't think we have a specific. We don't have a specific exact set of plans for that, do we? Like what to say. Let's just talk about it. We'll link to ULA's tweet. How's that sound?
Sure.
Did anybody see on Twitter? I love ULA because a lot of the times they do the sort of STEM outreach things. And some of you may look at this and like, seriously, they're supposed to be a serious rocket company. Why are they putting out a coloring sheet? Do you know how many kids their parents print this out for them and they color it and then they put it on the fridge or whatever? I'm okay with it. I want
love
kids
this.
coloring rockets. I want kids doing word finds about rocket terms. I am completely cool with this. So I'm not going to tolerate. Yeah.
If anyone's griping about this, you are dead inside. I don't know what's wrong with you, but this is so cool. In fact, I mean, I haven't colored something in I don't know how long. I put it on my iPad, and I'm like learning how to color on my iPad, which is something I've been meaning to do forever. And now I have a reason, and a fun task. But really, you think, like you said, Das, you think about all the kids that are going to do this and be stoked about rockets. And even aside from that, if there are children who are out there with their parents, or if you're taking your kids to a launch, and we all know how launches go, especially from the eyes of a kid who might be impatient or not understand, these things take time, or there could be holds. It's like, hey, here's some cool activities. I'm going to color the heck out of this Vulcan.
I like this. John Miles says, I'm 62 and I want to color that. Like adults can do this too. ULA put it out in a tweet. They had this sheet, so you can download it, you can print it out, you can do it digitally if you want, whatever. And so our plan, right, when Vulcan's launch is coming up Monday morning, that's going to be really tough for kids to watch because it's going to be the middle of the night. But if you color one of these, if your kids gets one of these and they color one of these Vulcan things, and you take a photo of that and you put it on Twitter, tag NASA Spaceflight in that tweet, and we'll try to get, even though it's the middle of the night, you can bring it up the next day on the TV and show the kid. We're going to try and show off some of the kids' colorings on our stream on Monday. So I don't know if as an NSF employee I'm exempt, but I can color it too. I don't know if mine's going to get shown on Monday, but I think that part of the logo is supposed to be red.
There you go.
This part is supposed to be red.
Look at this. We're seeing ISP added to the vehicle in real time.
There should be some engine flames down a little green.
Before I start coloring mine, can I make up another livery if I think the color should be different?
Yo, I got purple. Time out. I got.
Mine's going to be orange.
In there. Yours will be orange, Jack. Yeah.
I'm gonna make it Delta Blue.
You know something? You could totally. What if it had like the Delta Blue up here on it? Like,
I'm here for this. I'm so here for this. Somebody get the exact hex code for Delta. Hang on, I'm gonna go to my Lightroom. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna figure this out.
Hey, I could also draw the Vulcan logo over here real quick. Look, I'm good.
Nice.
Y'all like that? There's a maze too going from the Earth to the Moon. It's an activity sheet, folks. I see people and they're like, oh, they're supposed to be serious. And I would frown at those people. I would give them a DOS-appointed look because getting kids excited about this, putting out stuff like this, a lot of companies may be too cool for school and just be like, oh, we don't have to do that, But ULA every time has cool activities like this. And I really appreciate that somebody at ULA is out there being like, something, ULA is going to need rocket engineers to hire in 25 years. let's get some kids coloring at age, I guess, 0 if it's 25 years, but whatever. Yes, DASA pointed. That's a thing. If you do that, if your kid or you colors it and you want to tweet that, make sure you tag us at NASA Spaceflight. We're going to be pulling up some of those from social media, and just as a cool way to showcase on like a launch stream some of those things that people do. So anyways, stamp of approval. What?
The hex code is
What should I do?
7C9ACD for Delta Blue.
7C9ACD.
Yes.
I'm disappointed I didn't write that in Delta Blue, but whatever.
No, you're fine.
We're in a hurry. That's not even that color that I just drew the arrow at. Let me just cross this off. Did we get that tweet? Adrian or somebody, could we please? I see some people are asking where that tweet is.
I think they didn't tweet it yet. They have it on their mission overview. However,
let's link to it
will
then.
Yes, I will now make sure to do a tweet, and then we can Chris, I can do that probably on the main account, right?
Can you paste that mission overview into the back?
I did already in the
chat? Let me scroll up and see if I can find it.
Here it is at the bottom of the page.
Thank you. All right. Copy. Let's get this over for people to be able to see.
Yes.
I'm spamming it in chat. At least the coloring sheet. I don't have the activity link. Where's the activity page? But there's the coloring sheet in chat like 9 times.
The activity page is also at the bottom of the mission overview, which also, props to ULA. That's a really good mission overview. It helps.
You scroll down. They've got the Flickr album there. There's the activity sheet as a clickable link. The coloring sheet, it's that page that Jack has spammed, and you just you scroll down to the bottom, get all sorts of other information. Like, I appreciate the fact that they put this information in this easy to consume format. Here's where all the different parts come from. Here's the process, all the different things that have to come together in order to get Vulcan all the way out to the pad for launch day. I appreciate that they put overviews like this out. So that's all the way down there at the bottom. Give it a color. Toss it over on social media. Tag us at NASA Spaceflight. We were talking about using like a hashtag or something, but come on, it's the year 2024. People don't use hashtags, do they? If you put a hashtag in front of something, it just is a Discord channel. So anyways.
No, I to your point, I appreciate this so much. I think it's really cool, and also just as to note and make clear, the submission of drawings is not limited to just children.
It's true. I said that, yeah.
He says with own interest in mind.
Yes.
Anyways, so I think that is going to bring us to the end of our commentary, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out. Again, thanks to ULA and the NASA folks for supporting us and getting those close-in views and allowing us to do this here, point these cameras that way. But thanks, you all, for joining us. Thanks for all the support and stuff that came through. We're not leaving any support out that we didn't hit, did we, Jack?
Christopher Hella, thank you for the super chat. They say if you had watched the Blue Origin tour by Titan of CNC, you would know how many engines they have made. Everyone keeps talking about that video. I gotta watch that video. Thank you, Christopher, for the further motivation to watch that. Marcus, grabbing something from the store. They say, love the commentary. Best shuttle was Challenger. Nice. They got the calendar. Nice.
Good deal. With me out here today on commentary, Jack, thank you so much for helping out with all the support questions and stuff.
Absolutely, man.
No, that's
Love
not
it.
me. That's Jack. That's me. That's not Jack. Put Jack up there. There we go.
Hey, it's me.
Hey, it's Jack. You can follow Jack over on socials and stuff like that as well. Always a pleasure to hang out and yap with you, Jack.
Absolutely, man. New rocket. I'm here for it.
Hey, are you going to be there Monday morning with us too?
No, I did. I had thought about it, but it's just a lot going on this month
to get all the way out there. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, all good. Well, hopefully we see lots of Vulcan flights in the future. I want to make it down to one too. Also with us, Mr. Adrian. Adrian, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me. I like methane, so I'm just glad to see Nether here on the pad. So this was fun.
Says, I also, like methane.
Also, I'm
We
glad.
make that a shirt. Can we just have a shirt that just says I like methane? Just text,
like
no context, nothing. Like, oh man,
it's my favorite rocket propellant.
It really is a wide audience. Like farmers could wear it in the field when they're working the cattle.
Right.
You could wear it when you're cooking at your LP gas stove. Like,
Oil
there's
field
lots of-
workers.
Oil field workers could use it. A lot of people would like a I heart methane or I like methane shirt. I don't know. Tell the shop guy, Adrian.
Yeah, we'll tell the shop guy.
Also, remember we had Max out there in the field. We said thanks to Max earlier. Click in the buttons for us today, Jay Keegan. Jay, appreciate you as always. Clicking around on the stream. You need a profile picture. You've changed your profile picture recently, so we need to update it so it shows up there. But I believe that is it for now, folks. We're going to shut down our commentary. You can keep watching for a little bit of time here what's going on with Vulcan out at the Cape on Space Coast Live. That's likely where this stream is going to send you when it stops. And then also things are happening out at Starbase as they tend to do every day. It looks like SpaceX is preparing to disassemble some of the infrastructure that they built. And then they opted to buy infrastructure from people who build those things. So interesting things happening out at Starbase as well. But for now, I'm John Galloway. We are going to shut down the commentary stream here. We appreciate y'all hanging out, and we will see you nerds later.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
RTPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes! Payload down to nominal.
Fighting downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange! 145! Oh my god! Oh my god! Decollage! Look at this! Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed. We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?